Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Conley here, and I am going to demonstrate another experiment that has to do with the forces of flight. I want you continuing to think about how forces or a force act on different objects, and when we think about objects getting into the air or space, a paper airplane is a great example of that. I am going to demonstrate folding paper airplane and show you some different options for how to modify. But first I want to just mention at least the science of the 4 forces that act on an airplane. And so I have a couple terms here for you to be thinking about with forces. And for an airplane like this, one of the main forces, of course, are an up force to get it up, and we refer to that as lift. And then acting against that, going down, is what we call weight. And weight, of course, is a force downward due to gravity. And lift and weight, if you have an up arrow and a down arrow, if they're balanced, will not cause motion. But if we have an unbalanced, more lift, you will cause that plane to go up. The other 2 forces acting on an airplane is also thrust. That is going to be coming from the force for an airplane, paper airplane, sorry, is your arm throwing that and thrusting it forward. For, let's say, a bottle rocket or a true spaceship going into space, that thrust is coming from rocket engine fuel, thrusting it upward, forward, or upward. And then drag is going to work against that. And those are our 4 forces, so forward, backwards, up, and down forces. And so now to the paper airplane and folding it, this is the basic dart. And for most folds I'm going to demonstrate for an airplane is you start with a piece of paper and you're going to fold it in half lengthwise or hot dog. You want to always try to slow yourself down. I work on a flat table here, and I'm going to really slow down and watch where the piece of paper meets and get that pressed and creased nicely down the middle. That first fold is pretty important because that middle line is then your next guide for some other folds. The next fold is to take your 2 corners and fold it to that center line. Follow that center line as a guide and fold the corner in. Try to watch that you get it nice and along that line, and then press. I'm going to do the same to the other side. This is a first fold for most all airplane designs. You're going to do these first 2 folds. When I put those 2 sides in, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to bring this line of the paper to the center line. So here to the center. Try to get it nice and lined up again. Just take your time and then press along. I'm going to repeat on the other side. When you have these, again, if you see my fingers kind of pressing and making sure I get the tip of my airplane, that's going to help for creating a nice lift to that paper airplane. And I've now folded inward twice to the center line. I'm now going to fold the whole thing in half. After that half fold, if you see here, I'm going to follow this line and fold it down to the bottom crease here along the middle again. So I'm going to take this side, one side, and fold it to this bottom line. I'm going to follow it all the way down. If you think about it as this line matches this line, and carefully try to take your time. You don't need to rush, and press that. That line matched all the way down. I match it all the way down along that line. I'm going to do the same to the other side. So this was where it was folded in half. This line of the paper now is going to match that middle crease. I'm going to fold it all the way along, match it from the very tip of the plane to the tail of the plane, or the nose of the plane. I should use that term. Nose of the plane to the tail, all the way down. And this now is the basic dart. That middle part is going to be where you kind of hold with your hand, and this is your basic dart. Modifications can be made to this with paper clips, thinking about weight modifications. You could think about changing what's called the tail of the plane. When you create different folds on the tail, let's say upwards or downwards, you can cause different turns and spins to the plane. Something called a spinner plane I have here, and all it is the basic dart, if you notice, but I've changed the nose of the plane and I've changed the tail of the plane. If you look directly at the tail of this plane, I have folded one end up and the other end in the opposite direction down. I have the nose of the plane, this front fold, if you remember where you folded in twice, tucked in. It creates more weight at the nose, and this is going to create a different lift, and this plane will do what's acrobatic spin through the air. These are just 2 designs. I have some links provided for you if you go to my Science Enrichment page for this week, and you guys can create and have fun with some paper airplanes thinking about the forces of flight. Have fun and take care. Bye.